The House will come to order. Today, the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Jeremiah Little, Justin Little, Jordan Little, and we also have with us Ebenezer Agu, Andre Salinas, Kataya Shababwa, Maurice Majago, Daniel Adair from Dr. Martin Luther King Early College, Green Valley, Colorado.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Schiebel, please call the roll.
Representatives Bacon, Barone, Basenecker, Bottoms, Bradfield, Bradley, Brooks, Brown, Caldwell, Camacho, Representative Camacho, Carter, Clifford, DeGraff, Duran. Representative English is excused. Espinoza, Foray, Flanell, Froelich, Garcia, Garcia-Sander, Gilchrist, Goldstein, Gonzalez, Hamrick, Hartsook, Jackson, Representative Jackson, oh, she's here. Johnson, Joseph, Kelty, Leader, Lindsay, Luck, Lukens, Mabry, Marshall, Martinez, Morrow, McCormick, Wynn, Pascal, Phillips, Richardson, Ricks, Routenell, Representative Routenell. Oh, right in front of me. Ryden. Sirota is excused. Slaw. Smith. Soper. Did he say his? Stuart K. Representative Stuart K. Stuart R. Story, Sukla, Taggart, Titone, Valdez A, Velasco, Weinberg, Representative Weinberg, Weinberg is excused. Wilford, Winter, Woodrow is excused. Woog. Representative Woog.
Excused.
Zokai. She's here. And Madam Speaker.
Here. With 59 present and 6 excused, we do have a quorum. Representative Slaw.
Madam Speaker, good morning and happy Friday.
Good morning.
Madam Speaker, since I am new here, and you all don't know me very well, I want to confess that I'm not always really good at jokes or tap dancing, but my bachelor's degree is in history, so I hope that the House will indulge me if I share a tiny bit of history as a brand new freshman this morning. Please. In 1764, the Parliament of Great Britain, ruled by a king, passed the Sugar Act of 1764. It was a revenue-raising act in which the preamble stated, "It is expedient that new provisions and regulations be established for improving the revenue of this kingdom." The act did so by increasing taxes on the American colonies by taxing sugar and other goods. It lowered a molasses duty, cut taxes, but increased regulation and enforcement of sugar taxes and added new taxes on items like wine and coffee, which I don't personally drink, but still, how dare they? It shifted British policy to a hard regulation and taxation of sugar, actively raising revenue by burdensome taxes on its colonies. Thankfully, Madam Speaker, just over a decade later, the founders of this great nation had had enough of that king and his taxes and called upon their creator and divinely endowed natural rights to recognize their need to dissolve their political bands with the tyrannical king. You see, Madam Speaker, our founders, like us here in this chamber, recognized that government of the people, for the people, and by the people led to the greatest opportunity for prosperity, and that tyrannical kings were bad for people. The founders were the original no kings. That said, Madam Speaker, not quite 150 years after America dissolved its bands with a tyrannical king, our lands and our nation were blessed by God to have a new king born in the state of Georgia. This king, with faith, resiliency, and commitment to justice, became known worldwide through his speeches, writings, actions, and ensured that America became what it was always destined to be, a land free from oppression, where all people have access to those natural liberties our founders enshrined in our Constitution. So today, in honor of the third day since our historic vote here in this House and the one unanimous vote in the Senate, to ensure that the great state of Colorado is never misunderstood as having a king. And on this day, I got a sticky note. I don't know what that means. I'm a new guy. On this day, where we will certainly resolve to emphasize community togetherness against any rising tide of violence in our state and nation through our forthcoming resolution, I move that the Journal of Thursday, January 15th, 2026 be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk, and hope that we unanimously and unitedly vote yes as a sign of our resolve to have no kings, no excellencies, and with the no vote surely signaling a desire for a king that would bring undue regulation and taxation like the infamous King George, of whom we rid ourselves 250 years ago this year. So please, vote yes for no kings on this day that we recognize the best king, Dr. King.
Representative Slaw,
Madam Speaker.
most of our newly appointed members are a bit fearful of speaking in the well. Clearly, this is not a concern for you, and I commend you on kicking off our Friday morning with such robust and vigor enthusiasm. So thank you.
Madam
Members,
Speaker.
we have heard the motion, but I believe our Assistant Majority Leader would like to speak. Oh, our Assistant Majority Leader would like to speak.
Members, yesterday the governor appointed me the Assistant Majority Leader.
Assistant Minority Leader.
Yes, yesterday I was appointed Assistant Minority Leader. And I know there's some confusion because it might go in the Journal that way. So I just want to show you, because people get confused all the time. We look so much alike. I mean, 7, 47, but I am, because our fearless leader downstairs said I'm the Assistant Minority Leader, and I have pictures to show you. It keeps scrolling. But this is a picture of the actual Assistant Majority Leader who represents District 7 in the tunnels of the DIA airport. And this is me when we get back to it on my trusty steed, Chocolatate, And we are at the stock show. Why are you wearing my button?
I'm sorry.
Okay. And my trusty prize-winning pig, Bacon's Bacon. So I just want to apologize to you, AML Winter, for the mistake. But I do think the journal has actually been corrected, so let's just switch sides again. And with that, we ask that the journal be accepted.
A round of applause. Members, you have heard the motion that the journal be approved as corrected by the chief clerk. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The motion is adopted. Members, I will invite you to take your seats. We do have business this morning. Members, our next order of business is consideration of resolutions. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title to House Joint Resolution 1002.
House Joint Resolution 1002 by Representatives Bacon and Carter, also Senators Coleman and Exum, concerning the commemoration of Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Assistant Majority Leader Bacon.
Thank you. I move House Joint Resolution 1002 and ask that it be read at length.
So moved, Mr. Schiebel. Please read our resolution.
Whereas the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was born in Atlanta, Georgia on January 15, 1929, graduated from Morehouse College with a Bachelor of Arts degree in 1948, graduated from Crozer Theological Seminary in 1951, and received a PhD from Boston University in 1955. And whereas Reverend Dr. King's faith, resiliency, and commitment to justice became known worldwide throughout his speeches, writings, and actions. And whereas, like thousands of other Americans of African descent, Reverend Dr. King withstood personal attacks on his family and was denied the equal rights to vote, own a home, and attain an education, among numerous other threats and setbacks, but stood firm in his conviction that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And whereas Reverend Dr. King declared that the moral responsibility to aid the oppressed did not stop at the edge of his street, town, or state when he wrote, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." And whereas a co-founder of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, Reverend Dr. King embraced civil dissent. In confronting hatred and violence, he and others in the civil rights movement created constructive tension by being intentionally nonviolent but direct, urgent but strategic in their actions. This tension compelled examination of Jim Crow laws and our country's structures and systems that favored white Americans. And without such examination, true civil rights could never be achieved. The urgency required confronting the myths that time will inevitably cure all ills and that progress towards equal rights is inevitable. And whereas in a letter from the Birmingham jail, Reverend Dr. King wrote that it is easy for those who have never felt the stinging darts of segregation to say wait, but asking Americans to wait for courts or for minds to change on their own was a continued miscarriage of justice. He wrote, "We know through painful experience that freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor, it must be demanded by the oppressed." And whereas between 1955 and 1968, Reverend Dr. King spoke more than 2,500 times, including at the 1963 March on Washington, where he delivered his I Have a Dream speech with his inspirational look to the future. "I have a dream that our 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." He wrote 5 books as well as numerous articles, led 33 integral protests, such as the 1955 Montgomery bus boycott, helped register black voters, was arrested more than 20 times, was awarded 5 honorary degrees, received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964, and was the integral leader for gathering hundreds of thousands of people in the name of equality and civil rights. Thus, he became the symbolic leader of the black community as well as a world figure. And whereas the leadership of Reverend Dr. King was instrumental in bringing about landmark federal legislation, such as the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which prohibited segregation in public accommodations and facilities and banned discrimination based on race, color, or national origin, and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which eliminated the remaining legal barriers to voting faced by disenfranchised black voters. And whereas Reverend Dr. King's nonviolent leadership ended abruptly and tragically when on April 4th, 1968, he was assassinated while standing on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee. And whereas just 4 days after Reverend Dr. King's assassination on April 8th, 1968, Congressman John Conyers introduced the first bill to recognize Martin Luther King Jr. Day as a federal holiday. 15 years later, Coretta Scott King and Stevie Wonder delivered a petition with over 6 million signatures in favor of the holiday to Congress. And whereas when President Ronald Reagan signed H.R. 3706 into law on November 2nd, 1983, and designated the third Monday of January a federal holiday, he stated, "Traces of bigotry still mar America. So each year on Martin Luther King Day, let us not only recall Dr. King, but rededicate ourselves to the commandments he believed in and sought to live every day. Thou shalt love thy God with all thy heart, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself." And I just have to believe that all of us, if all of us, young and old, Republicans and Democrats, do all we can to live up to those commandments, then we will see the day when Dr. King's dream comes true, and in his words, all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside let freedom ring. And whereas January 20th, 1986 marked the first official federal Martin Luther King Jr. Day holiday, thereby ensuring observances such as closing non-essential offices, allowing federal employees paid time off, and offering free access to federal parks for all American communities. And whereas in passing the King Holiday and Service Act of 1994, Congress for the first time made a federal holiday a national day of service. In doing so, they honored the words Reverend Dr. King spoke. Everybody can be great because everybody can serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love, and you can be that servant. Known as a day on, not a day off, Americans are encouraged to honor Reverend Dr. King's legacy on the federal holiday by emphasizing community togetherness and volunteerism through service projects like tutoring, cleaning up a local park or road, and helping communities. And whereas the celebration of Martin Luther King Jr. Day in Colorado was championed for 10 years by Representatives Wellington and Wilma Webb in the hope that the acknowledgement of the holiday in state legislation would demonstrate Colorado's commitment to confronting and ending racial injustices. In 1984, Representative Wilma Webb championed the cause as the primary bill sponsor. On April 4th of that same year, Colorado Governor Dick Lamb signed the bill into law. And by 2000, all 50 states officially observed the holiday at the state level. And whereas in 1985, Representative Wilma Webb, former Representative Ari Taylor, and Governor Dick Lamb also created the state's Martin Luther King Jr. Colorado Holiday Commission. In 1986, the commission began a week-long series of events, including the Marade, a combination of the words march and parade on Martin's Day. In 2000, the commission transitioned to being privately run and was renamed the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Colorado Holiday Commission, which in 2026 will continue the 40th Marade that begins at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. statue in Denver City Park. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the 75th General Assembly of the State of Colorado, the Senate concurring herein, that we, the members of the Colorado General Assembly, hereby encourage observances, ceremonies, and activities to commemorate the federal and state legal holiday honoring Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. throughout all cities, towns, counties, school districts, local governments, and federal lands within Colorado. Discourage the interruption of celebrations, service projects, and access to America's splendor through its national parks, especially for people of African descent, in the honoring of Reverend Dr. King's legacy. Emphasize community togetherness and service, and that with the rising tide of violence in our state and nation, the Colorado General Assembly commends adding the teaching of Reverend Dr. King's legacy and nonviolent principles to Colorado's social studies standards. The Colorado General Assembly also calls for the annual recognition of the continued commitment to the ideals of the Federal Civil Rights Act of 1964 and Voting Rights Act of 1965 to honor the legacy of Reverend Dr. King, including his cause for leadership and nonviolent principles as a response to the forces of racism, discrimination, and violence in our society. In this way, Colorado can lead the way in showing a path to a better, more prosperous, and more peaceful future for all.
Members, who would like to speak? Representative Ricks.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and good morning, colleagues. Today, on Martin Luther King Day, as I celebrate my sixth Martin Luther King in the General Assembly, we are welcoming some wonderful guests from our community. We have with us the president of the NAACP, Omar Montgomery, and Regina Edmondson, his wife. We have students from Martin Luther King Junior High School in Green Valley Ranch. We have the president of the Aurora NAACP, Reverend Thomas Mays, with us. We also have the Little family who did our Pledge of Allegiance this morning from Denver. Dr. Vern Howard also, who runs the Martin Luther King Commission and has been the champion carrying and keeping the spirit of Dr. King alive. Please give him a hand. He's also from my district, so. Okay, and we also have Shar Smith, who is the president of the Interfaith Alliance. Welcome all.
Representative Joseph.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And to all our guests, thank you for being here. Today we honor Dr. King's legacy, who understood a truth that we wrestle with every day. Justice does not happen by chance, and change does not come simply because we hope for it. We remember the sit-ins and the marches. We remember the bravery of ordinary people who stood up and said, "This is wrong." But history often forgets this part. Nothing changed because time passed. Nothing changed because hearts magically softened. Things changed because people, especially young people, refused to accept injustice and forced this nation to confront it. And that matters more even today. Because even now, especially now, Black and brown communities continue to face harm, fear, and even kidnapping. The work that Dr. King began is unfinished, and it will not complete itself. Justice does not arrive on its own. Progress does not knock politely at the door. It only moves when people push it forward. And to the young people who are watching and listening and learning, this moment belongs to you. The civil rights movement was powered by students, teenagers, and young people who refused to sit idly by and who understand that their voices carried weight. You do not have to wait for permission. You do not have to wait to be older. Change begins when you stand for your classmates, show up for your neighborhood, and speak out when things are wrong, even when it is uncomfortable. Dr. King believed that silence helped injustice to grow, but actions give justice a chance. Every generation is given a choice to look away or to lean in. So today in this House and in our communities across Colorado, we honor Dr. King not by treating his legacy as history, but by accepting the responsibility that we have, that each and every one of us has. The question he leaves us with, young and old alike, is this still, it is still the same. And it demands an answer. More than ever today, it demands an answer. What will we do now? What will we do now with all the injustices that are taking place in the world?
Representative Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and good morning, members. I rise today in strong support of this resolution honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King's legacy is not confined to history books or a single day of remembrance. It's a living call to action, one that asks each of us, especially those entrusted with public service, to lead with humanity, grace, and an unwavering commitment to the dignity of all people. At a time when our communities are experiencing deep division, fear, and uncertainty, Dr. King's message feels not only relevant, but urgent. He reminded us that justice is not passive, that equity is not optional, and that our shared humanity must always guide our policies, our rhetoric, and our decisions. Dr. King believed in a society where opportunity is not determined by race, zip code, income, immigration status, or background, where compassion is not a weakness, but a strength. He challenged us to confront injustice directly, but always with love, moral clarity, and courage. This resolution matters because it affirms the values we should be uplifting right now. Empathy over indifference, inclusion over exclusion, and hope over fear. It reminds us that progress requires not only laws and legislation, but leadership rooted in conscience and compassion. Honoring Dr. King means recommitting ourselves to the work he began, building systems that support all people, protecting the most vulnerable among us, and ensuring that our actions reflect the belief that everyone deserves to live with dignity and respect. I support this resolution because Dr. King's vision of justice, humanity, and grace is the vision our communities need today, now more than ever, and the standard we should continue striving towards. Thank you.
Representative Ricks, this is your second time to speak to the resolution. You have 8 minutes, 24 seconds remaining.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members of the House, I rise today to honor the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his lasting impact on our nation. This is my 6th time to address Martin Luther King Day, and on each year, I reflect on what is the temperature in our country, in our state. Martin Luther King and his lasting impact on our nation lived a life of purpose, courage, and passion. He fought for a future many believed was impossible, one that expanded opportunity, dignity, and justice for people like me and for people of color across this country. Dr. King did more than demand change. He showed others that it was possible because of him for marginalized communities to realize that they did not have to accept injustice as inevitable. They could stand up to power, demand equality, and fight for that rightful place in society. He was a trailblazer whose courage paved the way for people like me to serve and lead and to be heard. His legacy lives in our communities, our institutions, and in every person who believes that equality is worth fighting for. One of the qualities I admire most about Dr. King was his unwavering commitment to nonviolence. He believed that nonviolence was the greatest asset available to marginalized communities, and he understood that real strength lies within the peace, not destruction. In recent weeks, we have witnessed a painful reminder that the work of Dr. King called on us to do remains unfinished. Across the country, we are witnessing immigration enforcement and federal power exercised in a way that feels increasingly unchecked and unaccountable. Just last week in Minneapolis, a wife and a mother of 3, Renee Good, were shot and killed by ICE agents. For many communities, this moment feels like living under a modern-day Gestapo. Federal agents are in the streets using force, firing chemical agents, instilling fear rather than providing safety. The actions reflect loyalty to political power, not service to people. Watching what is happening in our country right now feels eerily similar to the civil rights uprisings of 1960, when people of color were forced to rise up and demand rights they should have already had. People of color and immigrants should not have to prove their worth. They should be valued and seen equally. The current and many of the actions coming from the federal government feel like a direct assault on our Constitution and on the values this country claims to stand for: equality, dignity, and equal rights for all. That promise is not being fulfilled right now, especially for immigrants and refugees. We are living in a moment where division is being deepened rather than healed. That is not what Dr. King envisioned for this country. He preached love, calling on us to see beyond our differences and choose unity over division. Just as people demanded change and accountability in his time, this is our moment to do the same, peacefully, boldly, and together. In closing, we can all learn from Dr. King's example. We can recommit ourselves to resolving our differences through dialogue and not hostility. We can choose courage over fear, and justice over inequality, and solidarity over division. I am committed to continuing Dr. King's mission to champion a future where all have opportunity to thrive. And I challenge you to think that also.
Representative DeGraff.
Can we move? Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. All right. Well, I'd kind of hoped that today would come and go. We would have a nice resolution. We would have some peaceful dialogue, and we would move on. That's not the case. I'm not blind. Nobody is blind to the blatantly politicized language around this today. And it's unfortunate. Right now, what they're referring to, not in so veiled terms, is 14 million immigrants that have been allowed to enter the country. Not really immigrants, because they've entered here not in a legal manner. Now, as far as turning justice in the world, of 8 billion people, many of whom, let's assume most, would want to be here in the United States and enjoy the freedoms that are being dismantled in this room every single day. That is 0.175% of the global population. Now, what we have, it's often cited on the Statue of Liberty to bring me those who want to breathe free, and that's breathe free, not breathe for free, not breathe on the labors of other people.
Representative DeGraff, we have talked about immigration, and I will give you leeway. I do want to make sure that we stay within the...
She's giving me leeway. She's giving me leeway.
Representative Bottoms, please, thank you. I will give you leeway. I just want to make sure that we are also speaking to the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So it is unfortunate that we're trying to politicize this for an agenda that is outside of what this resolution purports today. So this is not me bringing this forward. These are the comments that are bringing this forward. So let's talk about some of Dr. Martin Luther King's legacy. You know, there's a lot that's going on right now as it seems like he is being maligned, not by the right, but by the left. Possibly as it's inconvenient to have a dream that one's character would be the judge, the content of one's character over the color of their skin, and that is increasingly uncomfortable as evidenced by the comments here this morning. So what I'd like to talk about, because this is uncomfortable, and Dr. King did tell us that silence helps injustice, and that injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. In keeping with the honor of his legacy, I would like to talk about something that he was passionate about, and one of those things was the Civil Rights Amendment. And we're called to honor the principles in the Civil Rights Amendment here in this very bill, or this very resolution. And one of those things, the Civil Rights Act of 1960, 52 U.S.C., was codified into 52 U.S.C. 20701-20706. So I'd like to not talk only about the spirit, but the letter of the law, of the Civil Rights Act. The materials covered by Section 301 extend beyond papers to include other records, jurisdictions, therefore also retain and preserve records created in digital or electronic form. Digital or electronic form, all records. And then we look at that these same standards are called for by the Secretary of State in 8 CCR 1505.121.4.2. Again, letter, not just spirit, that these records must be maintained. Yet, a political prisoner has been in prison for over a year for doing just that. And as Dr. King has said, and has been quoted here today, injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. And so I find it hard when that incarceration for following the letter of the law that was created out of the Civil Rights Act is ignored and then used to imprison a 70-year-old Gold Star mom and keep her often in solitary confinement while she's been sick. Now, we're learning there might be some relief because of the way she was kangarooed into prison. And I hope that's the case. But I want to also talk about another part of Dr. King's legacy, and that was the First Amendment, because he emphasized that free speech and assembly and protest are fundamental American rights. He didn't just talk about race. He didn't just talk about phenotype. Not just privileges for the powerful. Not just privileges for the powerful. Not just privileges for the majority. Crucial for challenging injustice and ensuring unheard can speak, even amidst suppression. He linked the right to speak out as a need to action and warned against silence, seeing protest as vital to fulfilling America's promise. And we've heard about some of that today on the right to protest, but somewhere, and that goes along with the right to the First Amendment. We have the right to petition. We have the right to assemble. But somewhere I read the freedom of assembly, somewhere I read the freedom of speech, somewhere I read the freedom of the press, somewhere I read the greatness of America is the right to protest for right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. We are going on. On silence, our lives begin and end the day we become silent about things that matter. On free speech and human rights, he argued that the ability to speak one's mind is a core human right, not just an American one. The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty of bad people, but the silence over that by the good people. Our lives begin and end the day we become silent about things that matter. And again, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So while the state violates not just the letter, the intent, the spirit of the Civil Rights Act, because those election laws are considered to be part of the Civil Rights Act, and when you imprison somebody for blowing the whistle, as it were, to protect that part of the Civil Rights Act, part of this bill rings this resolution rings a little hollow. So I'll leave you with that. But one of the things here that I noticed, and I'm in favor of, I'm not opposed to it. This is different than the comments that I wanted to make, but to discourage interruption of celebration services, projects, and access. And I'm for that. But we have the right to these things. We have the right. We have our First Amendment rights. We have the right to petition government. That is done as we represent the citizens of Colorado. And what you consider the minority party, the irrelevant party, as you often refer to us, we represent millions of Coloradans. And when we are Rule 14 and 16 into silence, you violate not just the spirit, but the legacy of Dr. King. Yes, we are protesting the horrible laws that come out of this building. Yes, we are standing up for what we believe is right. Yes, we are standing against injustice. And when this body votes to embrace the concepts that are embodied in the rules to silence the voices of Coloradans, I want you to come back and I want you to remember the legacy of Dr. King. And I want you to remember not just the ideals, but the very words of the Civil Rights Act, which you celebrate a political prisoner.
Representative DeGraff, you have 50 seconds remaining.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So I wanted to be, this is a difficult amendment. This is a difficult resolution. Not because of the resolution, but the way it's politicized and it's been turned against and it's been turned into division. So I want you all to take, I guess, a look in the mirror. When you vote for rules like 14 and 16 that violate this very resolution, that you'll applaud yourselves for passing. So with that, God bless America. All lives matter.
Representative Bottoms.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I had already printed out my speech. This is one of my favorite days of the year. And I was kind of impressed at how everything was going. The resolution, not exactly what I'd like to see, but not horrible. And I've watched that get better over the last handful of years. And then the speeches, as we began, very strong. Appreciated that. Was about to come up and brag. The fact that I love this pen, too. And then to turn this into a direct attack, calling the police the Gestapo, that's not okay. That should be censured. That person should be censured. This is not okay rhetoric in this building. But we always get to get the attacks, and then we just have to sit and take it. That's not okay. We turned this into attack this morning for no reason. This was not supposed to be attack. This was supposed to be a good day, and I was looking forward to being able to celebrate that and to celebrate what the Assistant Majority Leader had brought and all of the things that were happening. And then to get up and say that is disgusting. This is not about people coming into our country illegally breaking the law and attacking police officers. It's not about that today. It's about Martin Luther King Jr., one of my heroes, the Reverend. I've been a Reverend for 35 years. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., an amazing man. So I'm going to get to my speech and ignore the craziness that I just heard up here and actually speak about a great man. 1963, we saw it on the screen up here. I think one of the greatest days in our country's history, when literally hundreds of thousands of people gathered on the National Mall. Abraham Lincoln right behind. I love the shots where they get Martin Luther King Jr. and Abraham Lincoln set together. Those are powerful images. And to see hundreds of thousands of people, predominantly black people, all across the mall, where even a decade or two before that wouldn't have been allowed. And to see the resolve and the strength that he brought to that moment where he stood, and he stood firm. And by that time, he already knew, and he is already verbalizing to people that he probably was going to be killed for this. He was already verbalizing that. And to still stand there, and to speak truth, to speak it strong. I've always found it interesting that one little line in that speech where he says 1963 is not the ending, it's the beginning. That this is the beginning of seeing people equal. That God created us equal, and that Martin Luther King was very strong about that. And all eyes, not just, and I think this is important, all eyes not just on the mall, but all eyes across our country and all eyes across the world. Do you realize we were setting precedents that was tip of the spear worldwide, not just in the United States of America? That we would not allow these atrocities continue to happen against a people because of their skin color. I've admired Martin Luther King Jr. for years. I've quoted him in sermons, I've quoted him in speeches. And I strongly believe in equality. I think that's a biblical concept. It's not something that do you realize people do not come up with things like equality? People come up with things like inequality. People put other people down, and this is done by all people groups, all skin colors, all races across the planet. Humanity is known for stifling freedoms and stifling other people for their gain. And so the concept of equality is a God concept, it's a Bible concept. And I've talked about that the last couple years in some of the speeches I've given on this day. But I do appreciate all of that Martin Luther King stood for and that he said. I also know that truth is absolute. Truth is truth. There is such a thing as truth. It is absolute. It's not something that a person creates. Truth comes from God. It comes from his word. It's an absolute. There's no such thing as your truth, my truth. There's truth. And Martin Luther King was pretty strong on that. He knew that truth came from God, came from the Bible. He never became vitriolic, never promoted violence against the others, whoever the others are in society. Martin Luther King Jr. never claimed that whites or Asians or any other skin colors were evil or racist because of the color of their skin. Racism is not a skin color. Racism is a belief. And by the way, it's adhered to by all skin colors and is always wrong anywhere on the planet that we see it, now or in history. I know there's been some controversy recently about the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. There's been biographies written, and there seems to be this new revelation that MLK was a socialist, or that Martin Luther King Jr. had affairs on his wife, these kind of things. It seems like new revelation. I've known this for years and years. It was never hidden. That did not make me disrespect what he said. I've seen this as a pastor, where pastors will fall into some kind of immorality or embezzling money or something like that, and then people begin to question what they heard from that pastor. Was it true? The revelation that Jesus Christ is God, they now question that because the pastor fell. Truth is truth. Absolute truth is truth. It doesn't matter who says it. And yeah, I don't agree with Dr. King's socialism. I'm not a socialist. Although apparently the governor thinks I am. That was interesting yesterday. But I think the socialists in here probably are upset about that. But I'm not a socialist. That doesn't demean what Dr. King said. I've never cheated on my wife, and I think that's wrong. But that doesn't demean the truth of what Dr. King said. Truth will always be truth, and it will cut through no matter what the evil is, no matter what the darkness is. Truth is truth. When Dr. King said, He was talking about his children, but he was talking about humanity, talking about the United States. He said that we are not to be judged by the color of our skin, but the content of our character. Guys, that's truth. That's absolute. And by the way, that comes from the Bible. Dr. King himself said the whole concept of Imago Dei, as it expressed in Latin, the image of God, is the idea that all men have something within them that God injected. Not that we have substantial unity with God, but that every man has a capacity to have fellowship with God. Every person, every person. And this gives him a uniqueness, it gives him worth, it gives him dignity. And we must never forget this as a nation, that there are gradations in the image of God, that there are not gradations in the image of God. We will know one day that God made us to live together as brothers and to respect the dignity and worth of every man. That doesn't change. That wasn't something that Dr. King came up with. That's something that comes out of the Bible, that you were created in the image of God, that every person was created in the image of God, and God breathes his life into you. You don't create life. Humans can't do that. Life comes from God. Dr. Martin Luther King understood that. He said that skin color is irrelevant. It's character that's the key. And we've changed that in today's society. We've brought this back. From the 1960s, we had been doing so amazing, many leaps forward in the war against prejudice and racism. We were growing colorblind as a country. We were making huge steps. This has since then been reversed, and now we're pushing again to go back to judging according to skin color. This is egregious. We've started pushing racism with performative outreach and outrage across the country.
Representative, you have 55 seconds remaining.
We're using skin color to divide again. This sentiment flies directly in the face of Dr. Martin Luther King. He didn't want people attacking his children because of their skin color. And he does not and would not today, if he were still alive, want us attacking skin color. Doesn't matter what the skin color is. We've reversed the story and now it's okay. No, it's still wrong. Racism's still wrong. Hate is still wrong. Let's judge by the content of character. Let's go back to desiring equality, not equity, but equality. Freedom, not manipulation or control. Let's stand hand in hand, embracing all people everywhere, of all faiths too. Let's recognize human
Representative Bottoms,
dignity
your time has expired.
as truth, because truth is absolute.
Representative Carter?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You guys are going to have to give me a moment. So, to be clear, I have a speech prepared. But I just want to make a couple of comments before I go into it. For those who don't know, second year in this building. 2 years in a row, a good representative from El Paso County has done me the favor of explaining to me exactly what Dr. King actually meant. What I would like to say, God willing and the creek don't rise, I hope I don't have to have that explained to me again next year. I come from that house, on that city on the hill that he was talking about. I come from that city, Aurora, where we are all trying. See, I come from that place where we believe in hope. We want hope. We came here for hope. That is exactly what Dr. King was talking about. He was talking about that hope. But that hope takes honesty, and that honesty is tinged with the audacity to believe that we're going to do better. We are going to be better than we were yesterday, and we're going to be better tomorrow. I believe in that. I believe in that, and that's what Dr. King means to me. That audacity of hope, that today we are going to be a better people. I don't need anybody else to explain to me what Dr. King meant. Please vote for this resolution.
Assistant Majority Leader Bacon.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, colleagues. I will say it's been a journey for us. We have a lot of new colleagues, well, 4 from a couple of days ago. And I want to kind of explain to them. I also want to explain to those watching, our guests, thank you so much for being here. The Dr. King resolution is usually the first outside of references to titles. But it's important, and I'm using levity because this is a day of unity, right? And I'm putting the effort. But it's important to not just the Black Caucus, but I do think to this legislature, and quite frankly in celebrations across the country, that this be one of the first resolutions. Sure, the life of Dr. King was complicated, but I just want to point out that when we're talking about references to his life, that it was really one generation ago. My parents were alive when he was alive. My parents had to walk through certain doors. They could not drink at certain water fountains. And in their lifetime, they have seen some things that they fought for come and go. But also in their lifetimes, it was important that we knew their struggle and that we also told these stories to our youth and our children, and that is why they are here today, and that is why they are always invited on Dr. King's holiday. It took multiple generations before we were able to live up to the expectations of our founding document. If you remember the I Have a Dream speech, he talks about just how many years ago it was to when we were in bondage. And that statement is important to recognize 2 things. One, that it is always going to be a journey unless we end it. And if it takes centuries, so be it. And so as we think about what it was that he died for, when we think about nonviolence, when we think about the promises, I have said in this well before, that this country existing even into 250 years is a miracle. We are held together by 2 oceans and a document. And if we do not live up to the creed, then the failure of this country will be on our backs. And it is also important to start sessions with this resolution to remind us of that. And so, yes, somewhere I read, he said, we have the right to free speech. And that also means the right to protest. Somewhere I read, we had the right to assemble. And for what it's worth, I do not feel like we have silenced voices, because it has been a concerted effort of mine to figure out what it is that's important to this side of the aisle to try to include. But I will be clear on what equality is. If you spend 300 years putting someone in a hole, then you gotta focus on pulling them out, and that is equity. I will never apologize for that, because equity means we are going to remedy the harm so that we can be equal. So I want to remind us, in our Constitution, we talked about right to jury trials of our peers in the Constitution. We talk about it is an injustice to not only take your property or your liberty, but your life without due process. That is what we mean today. And to my sister, thank you for your words. At the very least, What people are talking about is what they live. They're talking about their being. And if we are not free to talk about what the actions of the government are doing, when we have a document that is supposed to protect us for it, then we must not believe in speech. And if we cannot receive each other when they're talking about their literal nightmares, when the document is supposed to keep us together, then maybe we don't believe in it. Members, the values in our founding documents are all the time. Justice is blind all the time. Liberty is liberty all the time. Freedom is freedom all the time. When it's just for some people, it's just favor. And so, yes, I come here, pledge allegiance. Every day, I fight for this country even though it has hurt me. My grandfather fought in a war, came back and had to enter through the back. But he did it because I believe in one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And it has been the Black community that has had to prove that. And we do it over and over again for the love of this nation. And we bring forward a resolution to ask us to commit to the things we all know we love, as that flag is on our desk. And it is a miracle because it has to rely upon the graces that we have been given from our Creator to hold it together. And this country is a miracle of metal to test, do we mean what we say? And we have to be that example across the world. And today, voting for this resolution, however you connect to it, is an opportunity to speak. This resolution will be sent to the halls of Congress in DC, to the White House, to our colleagues in this state, as a commitment from this legislature to commit to the founding ideals. And so to my new colleague who connected, no kings except one king, I want to thank you for reminding us what it took to found this nation. We were born out of protest. And we had some feels about it from a certain king and how he wanted to respond to fighting for freedom, even in all of our faults. We had to work it out over 250 years. But today in 2026, let us start this session again with this commitment. Please understand the depths to which these words impact us, and we can't do anything but be who we are in our experiences. And that can't be political, that's being. Lastly, I'll end with the call for nonviolence wasn't just on one side. After facing hoses and dogs, being jailed, that was also a call for how we as a nation of laws in the commitment to the document we should espouse to be. Thank you, members, for standing. I will end with saying, just quick announcements. We were pleased to be able to share with you the lapel pins. We hope you enjoy them. We want to say thank you to Dr. Vern Howard and the MLK Jr. Commission. On your desks, there is an invitation to all of our events. We have the famed Denver Parade at 10 a.m. on Monday, starting from City Park. We invite you all. And yes, despite my picture of me and Bacon's Bacon and my trusty steed, Chocolatate, we do have an MLK Jr. Heritage Rodeo, and we invite you to attend as well on Monday. So members, to all of our guests, to our young people, to our elders, to my dear Black Caucus, to everyone here, we do urge a yes on this resolution. We invite you to celebrate with us. And please, if you have a moment, greet our guests. Thank you so much.
Members, we are going to stand in a brief recess for the purpose of hearing from our Senate colleagues who wish to speak to the resolution. I still remember you as Representative Senator Exum. Forgive me. Members, Senator Exum will be addressing us from the wall. Senator Exum, one moment, please. We cannot hear you.
Oh, his earpiece.
Senator Exum, could you remove your earpiece? We believe that might be what is. Let's try again. We cannot hear you. We are going to work on our technical challenge and invite Mr. President to address the body. Such a joy to have you here.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. It's an honor to serve with you.
It is an honor to serve with you.
I know y'all don't think that's weird, but we don't say that in the Senate. But it is an honor to serve with you. Good morning.
Good morning.
One more time, good morning. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'll take the fine for call and response. I know that's not what we're supposed to do. I forgot to ask permission. Really quickly, if it's all right, I think he might have maybe done the prayer, but I want to make sure he was acknowledged. Pastor Michael Brown, Central Baptist Church, his wife, Carla Turner Brown is also here. Thank you both for being here today. We appreciate you. I wanted to start off by saying that when I look around this room, please take your seats. I appreciate y'all, man. I just want to start off by saying that when I look around this room, I think about the civil rights movement because I believe this is what it looked like. And not only was it diverse in all the ways that we imagined that it was, more importantly, we are carrying on Dr. King's legacy in making sure that we have diversity also in having more women serving in the state legislature in Colorado history than we ever have before. Can we give it up for our ladies? That's right, fellas. Follow my lead. It'll all work out. I just wanted to say three things. One, I wanted to talk about the fact that Dr. King and what we do, and also something connected to my faith and those who share the faith that I practice have in common. The first thing is a call to service. The second thing is a call to practice. And the third thing is the price of service. The call to service. The Bible says many are called, but few are chosen. And in part, a big reason for that is because a lot of people have the ability to do the work. Many people may be called to the work, but they don't always answer that call. Dr. King answered that call. You all answered that call. And part of that call is sacrifice. It is the work that we're here to do, but it's also the work in the community. It's engaging with community. It's a sacrifice for family. I remember when I first got elected, I sat back where Representative Martinez sits, and my children, James and Naomi, as I shared in my opening speech, were 6 years old, and they can both sit on my lap. When I ran for office, before I even launched my campaign, I said, James and Naomi, Daddy wants to run for office. What do y'all think? By the time we got finished with it, they both said, sure, Dad, why not? They're 6 years old. But in that conversation, I told them, I said, look, Daddy might miss some games, or Daddy might miss some recitals, but I promise you when we're together, we'll make it up to you, and that we get to do this together as a family. It's not just me, but it's all of us. And I imagine that same call to service is a sacrifice that you make. The second thing is the call to practice. I think about the fact that when Dr. King decided that he was going to do this work, he decided that he was going to take care of the least of these. And one of the scriptures that we usually quote when we quote Dr. King talks about, when I was hungry, when I was in jail, when I was sick. And then ultimately the response to that is, when did we see you in all these conditions? And it's whenever you saw anyone in this condition and did something, it was as if you were doing it for me. And when I think about when I was hungry, did you feed me? It has nothing to do with a piece of paper with legal jargon on it, talking about a policy that we want to pass in a law that's going to be implemented and hopefully make an impact. It literally means, when I was hungry, did you feed me? I think about Dr. King and all that he did as a faith leader. He did fight for the Civil Rights Act in 1964, the Voting Rights Act in 1965, so on and so forth, and many other policies. But in the end, he was a faith leader first. And I imagine he looked at the work that he did, even politically, through the lens of how Jesus would do. And when Jesus was alive, he hung out with people and helped people and provided for people and supported people that both the leaders, politically and religious of their time, didn't think that he should be. And that's what we do today. The reason why I mention this is because a lot of times in this building, including this resolution, we make this personal. Maybe it is to you. But in the end, I think about Kimmy Lewis. I think about Hugh McKean. I think about Rod Bockenfeld. I think about Faith Winter. I think about so many other people we've had an opportunity to serve with, and I thought about the times I was upset with them for voting no on a bill or amending my bill or having something slick at the well to say about my bill. And for all the upset that I was, what I wouldn't do for another day with them. Now, in the case of Senator Cleve Simpson, the greatest minority leader of all time, who might be in this chamber sitting to my right, your left, this man literally invited me into his home and my family, offered me a meal, offered me a place to stay, offered me a place to get to know him and his family and better understand not just the issues that he cared about, but also him. And in turn, I had the same opportunity to share where I was coming from with him. You know, the funny thing about relationships is if you start there, then the work that we actually get to do together turns into things where we identify the problems as equal. Solutions we may disagree on, but in the toughest bill that I've ever run in this building, that man stood with me on a policy. And it was all based off of relationship. So the call to service, after you answer that call, the practice of it, isn't just about coming down to the well. It's not performative. I get that we got to run elections, we got campaigns, I get it. I get that you might have somebody really upset in your community about something, and you want to show them how much you care about this issue. Whether it results in a vote, maybe it just results in making you feel better about yourself or changing their perspective or perception of who you are. But in the end, the question I ask is, does that call to service damage your ability to serve that person as a human being and not just serve them as a politician? And the last thing is the price of service. Everybody here has received a death threat. Everybody here has received a phone call, a piece of mail, an email. Okay, maybe one is shaking their head. You stop it. But I imagine everybody has in some way, shape, or form. And I want to make this connection because Jesus, Dr. King, they didn't die after or before they did a good deed. They died after they did a good deed. They were undeserving of the treatment that they received. People ask me all the time, what is the reason why I do this work? I always say God, I always say family, I always say community. And genuinely for me, as I imagine each of us have our own reasons for being here, whether it's faith or something else. I do think about Jesus. I think about the fact that he was wrongfully accused. I think about the fact that he was spat on, he was ridiculed, he was beaten, he was bruised. He had flesh torn off of his body. Whether you think he was just a prophet or you believe he was actually the Son of God, he stood for something. They asked him to speak and say, "Don't you have something to say for yourself?" And he said nothing. Just like his father in the Garden of Gethsemane. "Father, is there any way that we can do this differently?" And there was no other way, and he recognized and he acknowledged that. So, I am most afraid of my grandmother, because she's 92 and she don't play. But beyond that, the thing I fear the most is failing God. And if he gave me a responsibility to do something, then I have to answer to him. And the thing, again, I have to answer to him about is not policy, and it's not this resolution, but it's about how I treated those who abused, who misused, who said, who did things when I didn't deserve it. And even if I did deserve it, I imagine that Jesus would have wanted me to respond to others the way that he did, in love and kindness, just the way Dr. King did, advocating even though he was murdered. So, the one ask I have of us, I ask of us not just in this moment on policy or with this resolution or anything else political. I ask of us this session, even though it's hard, even though somebody's looking at you or it could be helpful to a campaign, I want you to think about, if one of your members was not here anymore, how we treat them in that moment. And whatever that personal thing is, whether it's your faith or something else, I want you to connect that with how we treat one another, because we all we got. Nobody cares about us outside of this building. Nobody knows what we do outside of this building. The legislators that come after us don't know who we are, but I do know Penfield Tate. Let's give it up for Senator Penfield Tate real quick. I'm so sorry, Madam Speaker. So in closing, because I see the button, I see her pushing the microphone, that's what I do.
Yeah.
In closing, what I ask us to do is think about how we treat one another in this space. Let's disagree, that's okay. Let's not be disagreeable. And to the representative from El Paso County and to anyone here, I want to say thank you for acknowledging that we should be able to have access to parks. That means a lot. I want to give credit where it's due. And I want to say I don't hold you to, and I don't blame you, and I don't crucify you. You decide you want to vote no on this resolution, because I'm called to love you. Regardless, I look forward to continuing to work on other things with you outside of this. What I do ask is that we all, both House, Senate, anywhere else in this world, as we see all the violence going on, that we think about how we treat one another, whether that's your faith or something else. Let's make sure we in Colorado set that example. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. President. We don't normally clap, but we are in recess. We are in recess. Senator Exum. Oh, good morning, sir. We are having a hard time hearing you. Let's try again. We can read, thank you. We can read your words, Senator. So while we can't hear them, they are displaying on the screen if you would like to proceed. Members, thank you for your patience and your consideration. Members, again, we are in recess. This is highly unusual, but it is an important day. Senator Exum, we're going to call you and allow you to speak to the body through your phone. Oh, I think both the president.
What's
There we
up, brother?
go.
All right, make sure you acknowledge the speaker just like you in the chamber. Go ahead, man.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Speaker. You can hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Please proceed. Please proceed, Senator
Thank you, Madam
Exum.
Speaker, for the opportunity. And before I get into my my main points, I want to talk about something that Dr. Martin Luther King would be very discouraged about on what's happening with the Voting Rights Act that he fought so hard to get passed in 1965. In 2013, sadly, some of those significant protections afforded to the Voting Rights Act were gutted by the Supreme Court decision of Shelby County versus Holder, and a new wave of voter suppression techniques flooded the country, from restrictive voter ID laws to fewer than even no early voting days to closing polling places and voter poll purges. And even today, in 2026, the Supreme Court has on their desk the Voting Rights Act. And I hope they have the courage to continue it and not gut it even further, because it's very, very important for something that Dr. Martin Luther King fought for. Last year, I shared this, Madam Speaker. During my sophomore year in high school in 1968, I had the opportunity to give a speech about Dr. King. And I remember I was so nervous, as I am today. It was one of the first times I ever spoke in front of my class. And then a few months after I gave that speech, he was assassinated. And I became the beneficiary of Dr. King's civil rights legacy, and that I was able to graduate from college. And because of Dr. King's pre-civil rights work and affirmative action, I was allowed to join the Colorado Springs Fire Department in the early 70s and retire about 35 years later of public service. And I thought then that what Dr. King fought for and died for, people in my generation would not have to face that type of discrimination, but that wasn't the case. In 1974, when I joined the Colorado Springs Fire Department, a few months after that, a white firefighter made a statement that he didn't want to sleep in the same beds as blacks because he thought all blacks were dirty. In 1984, when I got promoted to lieutenant, I was told I only got promoted because I was black. In 2001, when I got promoted to captain, I was told by some that I only got promoted because I was black. And in 2006, when I got promoted to battalion chief, I was told again I only got promoted when I was black. As a matter of fact, when I got promoted in 2006, my supervisor, a black woman, was demoted. So there was no gain there. And I'll close with this as what President Coleman talked about. Through all the things that I dealt with on the Colorado Springs Fire Department, God was dealing with my heart and the bitterness that I had for statements that people had made. And I had to go to some of those individuals, or I chose to, and ask for forgiveness on what I had in my heart. Now, did that change their views of things? I don't know. But it opened up the opportunity for God to do his work. Because he said, I will forgive you as you forgive others. And we have to make that choice even today. Not to stand with bitterness in our hearts, but to forgive one another so we can carry on the work and the legacy of Dr. King did back in the 60s. Madam Speaker and colleagues, I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you for your time. God bless you all.
Thank you, Senator. Members, the House will come back to order. The motion before us is the adoption of House Joint Resolution 1002. Mr. Schiebel, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Bradley, how do you vote? Representative Bradley, I cannot hear you. Could I have you motion thumbs up? Representative Bradley votes yes. Representative Woog, how do you vote? Representative Woog demonstrates a thumbs up. He votes yes. Representative Morrow is excused. Please close the machine. With 60 aye, 0 no, and 5 excused, House Joint Resolution 1002 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Members who are participating remotely, if you do want to co-sponsor, if you could come on screen and give me a thumbs up. Please close the machine. Members, as you know, this morning we will be convening a joint session for the purpose of hearing a message from tribal representatives from the Ute Mountain Ute Tribal Council and the Southern Ute Indian Tribe Tribal Council. Pursuant to Senate Joint Resolution 003, the committee to escort the tribal representatives is comprised of Representatives Ricks as chair, Representative Clifford, and Representative Sukla. You will be released to escort the representatives moments away during the joint session. Members, please do not go far from the chamber. We will be reconvening shortly. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House stand in recess until after the joint session. Members, please do not go far.
The House is in recess. Members, please take your seats. We are going to begin our joint session. Members, please take your seats. We have invited our good senators to join us. I believe they are coming in as well. The joint session will now come to order. Senate Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I move that the morning roll call of the Senate be made the Senate roll call of the joint session.
Seeing no objection, the morning roll call of the Senate will be made the Senate roll call of the joint session. Madam Majority Leader. Madam Majority Leader Duran.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move the morning roll call of the House be made the House roll call of the joint session.
Seeing no objection, the morning roll call of the House will be made the House roll call of the joint session. A quorum is present. As is customary, it is my privilege and honor to turn the gavel of the House over to the President of the Senate with the request that he preside over our proceedings.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Will the Joint Committee composed of Senators Danielson, Hendrickson, and Kirkmeyer, and Representatives Ricks, Clifford, and Sukla please escort the tribal representatives from the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe Tribal Council and the Southern Ute Indian Tribe Tribal Council to the House chamber. Chief Sergeant of the House, Rosenthal.
President, Madam Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, please rise for Melvin J. Baker, Chairman of the Southern Ute Indian Tribe, and Council Member Marilyn House of the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe.
Will the escort committee please proceed to the podium? It is my pleasure and honor to present to you the council member Marilyn House of the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe Tribal Council and Chairman Melvin J. Baker from the Southern Ute Indian Tribe Tribal Council. Councilmember House will address us first. Members, please join me in welcoming them.
Hello. First and foremost, I want to thank you all for giving the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe and our sister tribe, the Southern Ute Indian Tribe, this time to address the Colorado Assembly. Thank you. My name is Marilyn Susan House. I'm the member of the Ute Mountain Ute Tribal Council from Toyoak, Colorado. The Ute Mountain Ute Tribe and the state of Colorado have a history of working together. Together, we have been able to meet the needs of both state and tribal. This is a time of economic growth and development in all areas for the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe. The Ute Mountain Ute Tribe would ask to receive support from the state in moving its growth forward. Moving forward, the Colorado legislatures have the ability to assist the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe with issues that impact the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe's resources and the lives of the Ute Mountain Ute people. Given the opportunity for the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe to have a voice and position to express our concerns is critical for our tribe and its stability. Our needs as a Ute sovereign nation are many. Those needs and wants are possibly the same as other Native American tribes and communities in our country today. We, as the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe, would like to address the continued work and attention in the following areas. Safety. Safety amongst our tribal community has always been a priority in the recent years, even more so. We have seen gun violence and other acts of violence in our community. And from those acts, we have seen families who cry when they bury their loved ones. These acts of violence knows no age or gender. These acts have become the norm for our people of Toyoak. We as a tribe have requested added BIA law enforcement to help protect our people, but we have been met with not enough BIA officers or not enough funding. Recently, the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe was visited by the U.S. Attorney General from Colorado, Phil Weiser. The Ute Mountain Ute Tribe requests that the U.S. Attorney General prosecute any individuals who bring harm to our community and its members to the fullest extent of the law. We deserve to give our members and families justice for crimes that are committed on the Ute Mountain Ute lands. We hope for a day where we too can live and thrive in a safe community for all our members within the boundaries of the Ute Mountain Ute Reservation. Housing. We know housing is a common factor in all communities. Families grow, and with growth comes the need for space. And like so many other cases in Indian country, housing is a priority. Our housing waiting list has a very, very large number of people waiting for a home. We would request that funding for housing and housing development be a priority for the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe. The Ute Mountain Ute Tribe is addressing its housing shortage and plans to apply to Colorado Housing and Finance Authority, CHAFA, for both federal low-income housing tax credits and Colorado state housing tax credits. Should the tribe be awarded these programs, it will enable the tribe to build 15 new homes in Toyoak community. In moving this project forward, the tribe has met with individuals from the Colorado state offices. This working relationship is one that the tribe is excited to continue working with on the state. Health. The health of the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe and its people are vital for our tribe to thrive. And when we talk about health, it's not just about health care that's important, but mental health, physical health, and emotional health, as well as environmental health for our people. Having access to more funding for programs to help strengthen our people is a must. As we all heard yesterday, health care for all is what we strive for. And the Ute Mountain Tribe is no exemption to that. Tribal consultation. Continuation of tribal consultation is needed and a must in order for the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe to have their issues addressed and properly considered when legislation is being proposed or eliminated. Colorado usually honors tribal consultation. However, there have been times when Colorado has not followed through with its obligation to consult with the tribes on certain matters or legislation issues. Tribal consultation allows the tribes say in any areas that might be changed or affected. And open communication is what all tribes in this country should have and be entitled to, as the government has broken many promises and treaties. A way to move forward from the past would be to always consult with tribes. Our voice for the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe matters. Water. The tribe needs assistance with complex negotiations with state and federal agencies to secure their water rights in the Colorado River post-2026 operations. Many tribes have been forced to bargain away their senior water rights in order to have access to the much-needed infrastructure. This leaves the tribes within the basin more susceptible to state decisions to just accept their water cuts. Water is a cornerstone of the tribes growing their communities and developing local economics while supporting the livelihoods and well-being of their members. The February 14, 2026 deadline for these negotiations are quickly approaching, and the tribe has treaty obligations that federal agencies and states must respect and to uphold, and the tribe would ask for any assistance from the state in protecting these water rights. And as it was said by the late Chief Jack House, the last hereditary chief of the Ute Mountain Utes, and I quote, "Chief wants his water too." Colorado Department of Transportation, CDOT. Our roads that run through our reservation must be safe for all, especially our people of the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe who travel these roads on a daily basis for school, work, and everyday needs. More maintenance and signage on the Colorado Highway 491 would ensure that the roads that run through the reservation are equipped properly for drivers to be safe. More safety studies on high traffic intersections and safety plans are needed. And over the years, these high traffic intersections are dangerous and have been overlooked for our people. Educational curriculum in Colorado schools and the Native American impacts in history in the state of Colorado. The Utes have settled in the state of Colorado since time immemorial. The Utes and other Native American leaders have had an impact on the state of Colorado. Some of these Ute leaders we see here today in our capital, such as Chief Jack House and Buckskin Charlie, who are on stained glass. In areas of education, it would be important to not only teach this important lesson in Colorado schools, but to also give back recognition to the Native Americans who have made contributions to the state of Colorado. These lessons are crucial to understanding how our state of Colorado partners with the Ute tribes in Colorado. The partnership we build together is very important today. Infrastructure. The Ute Mountain Ute tribe is a growing tribe, and along with growth comes a need for more infrastructure. New infrastructure helps improve the lives of young and old who are living on the reservation today. Access and assistance on future infrastructure on the Ute Mountain Ute Reservation is needed. Sun Bear Solar Project. There needs to be a continuation of tribal engagements at all departments who interact with tribes to embolden them to seek their own self-determination and self-reliance. The Ute tribe wants to contribute the state, and the Sun Bear Solar Project the Ute Mountain Ute tribe is developing is one key component to that contribution. The energy the solar project can provide will assist with stabilization of the electric grid and add another energy product to the state's portfolio. There are issues holding back this project that Colorado legislatures could help provide a solution to and help the tribe make this project a complete success. Pass-through funding. The tribe has asked the state to work with them to convince Congress and the U.S. administration to disseminate tribal designated funds directly to the tribe rather than burden the state with cost and effect to manage and distribute the funds. An example of this is the broadband grant funding. Originally, the tribe was directed to receive the broadband grants. However, the grants ended being passed to the tribes through the state of Colorado. Again, this is working for all. More involvement from the state of Colorado. The Ute Mountain Ute tribe has been a part of the state of Colorado since time immemorial. We are located in the southwest part of Colorado, and our reservation expands to 3 states, Colorado, Utah, and New Mexico. We, the Ute Mountain Ute tribe, request that we meet more than twice a year with you all. If you invite we will come. In building not just a relationship, but a connection happens when we see more of each other. And while the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe appreciates the time to address you all, we would like to do it more often. Needs that do need to be changed are often, and the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe would like to communicate those needs as often as possible. As you see, the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe has interests in all areas. The Ute Mountain Ute lands extend throughout the state of Colorado, and these issues presented today are but a few issues the tribe would like to work on with the state of Colorado. There are numerous ongoing issues, and these issues addressed today are just an indication of the value of our relationship and a demonstration of the extent to which we can help each other when we work together and consult with one another and to support one another. I would also like to highlight the positive outcomes when the state of Colorado works together with the tribes. Colorado consulted with and worked with the tribes and were able to provide benefits to its tribal citizens by allowing free entry into the state parks. The state of Colorado has mandated outreach by the Division of Parks and Wildlife by June of 2026. This mandate gives tribes reassurance the state is providing the tribes with as much assistance as possible. The Colorado voting rights was another benefit the state provided to the tribes by allowing tribal IDs for voting and requiring the drop boxes on tribal reservations. This allowed more access to the voting for our tribal membership. This also provided the tribe with an opportunity to be involved in their state's elections and have proper representation. Legislation was passed which gives full faith and credit to the tribal court orders. This was long overdue, and by working together, the state and tribe are now able to give full faith and credit to arrest warrants, and the state further recognizes other tribal court orders, including behavioral health commitment orders. This legislation improves public safety and is a great example of the state recognizing the tribe as a sovereign nation, as ensuring enforcement of tribal judicial decisions within the state. I would also like to highlight the achievements made by the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe with assistance from the state of Colorado. This month, we opened our first grocery store on January 5th, 2026. The Ute Mountain Ute Tribe had a ribbon cutting for its Nuchu Market. This market has been a long-planned grocery store that the tribe envisioned during the COVID pandemic outbreak. The tribe began working on the store once it realized the tribal members had to travel to Cortez, Colorado, or New Mexico for basic grocery needs during a time when travel was dangerous to the health of the tribal membership. Due to federal cuts in grants and other obstacles that the tribe faced throughout last several years, the store opening was delayed. However, in recent weeks, the Nuchu Market's opening finally came to reality. The store serves fresh fruit and vegetables as well as other day grocery items, which serves the community and tribal members no longer have to drive 12 miles to get their necessities. When the federal funding was cut for the store, the tribe reached out to the Colorado Funding Assistance and received funding from the Colorado Housing and Finance Authority, CHAFA, and the Colorado Trust. Without this, additional funding from the Colorado Nutri Market may not have been able to open its doors. The tribe thanks the state for working with the tribe so that the store was able to open. And this is an accomplishment on the tribe's behalf, and it benefits all of the Toyoak community members, as well as meeting the people's needs who are traveling through our area. The Cuyega Community Academy. As everyone may recall, in 2020, the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe established the Cuyega Community Academy, authorized by the Charter School Institute. The Academy received funding from the Colorado Charter School Program, and the Academy has been a huge success and continues to grow to this day. From initially having kindergarten to second grade, now adding a grade every year. The tribe is planning on adding the 6th grade to this program. And this is the only public school on a reservation in Colorado today. At this charter school, our children are learning the Ute language and the culture of the Ute people. And we take pride in our school and what is taught. And as you all may or may not know, Ute children and other children of different tribes who attended boarding schools were beaten just for talking their language. It is a blessing to have our children learn these teachings that will carry with them for the rest of their lives. At the Academy, our children are experiencing a unique learning atmosphere in which tribal traditions are incorporated into everyday learning. The children are taught by teachers as well as Ute elders who come into the school and storytell Ute history and Ute traditions. The Academy has compiled with all the Colorado grant conditions, and we thank the state for working with the tribe in this original endeavor. The tribe is now looking to build a new school to accommodate its growth. The tribe hopes it continues to receive support both financially and academically from Colorado, such that this new school can come to actuality and the Academy can continue to grow for the benefit of the tribal members and its children in the future. In closing, I would like to leave you with a few words to always remember as you all make decisions and laws regarding our state of Colorado. As time changes and leadership changes, the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe may be overlooked and in some cases forgotten. But the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe is resilient, and we are determined to thrive in all areas for the betterment of our people. The people of the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe are here, and we are not going anywhere. I invite and welcome you all to come and visit the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe and the people. Come see our children grow and learn in their school. Come and see what our beautiful land has to offer, from our sleeping Ute Mountain that has the most breathtaking sunsets, and come and see our rich culture of our people and the beautiful beadwork we as Ute people wear with pride. We invite and welcome you all. I want to acknowledge also my fellow council members who came to support this effort today. Councilwoman Tawny Knight and Councilwoman Catherine Jackett, would you please stand? I also want to acknowledge other Ute Mountain Ute Council members, Chairman of the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe, Selwyn White Skunk, Vice Chairwoman Gwendolyn Kensey, Councilman Conrad Jacket, and Councilman Alston Turtle. We all took this role as leaders to help lead our people of the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe to a better, brighter future. And we want to continue to strive and fight for what is best for our land and our people every single day. I also want to say a special thank you to the CCIA staff. You always make us feel welcome when we come here. I also want to thank to the Majority Leader, Monica Duran, and her staff. Thank you. I want to thank you for your time and the opportunity to work together for the best interests for all who share Colorado and call it home. In these times of challenges, remember, be kind to one another, love one another. May God bless you and your families, and may God bless the people of the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe. Thank you, Dweak.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing well today. Beautiful day. How fortunate are we to live in the beautiful state of Colorado? My name is, let me go ahead and start. Mike, good morning. Quiz. To the members of the Colorado House of Representatives and Senate staff and honored guests, thank you for the opportunity to stand before you today. My name is Melvin J. Baker. I am the chairman of the Southern Ute Indian Tribe. As I look around this chamber, I am reminded of the meaningful relationships we have built together. Relationships that cross party lines and are grounded in mutual respect and shared responsibility. I thank the leaders of this body for their continued engagements in partnerships. And at a time of deep polarization and differences across the nation, the Southern Ute Indian Tribe and the state of Colorado share a strong government-to-government relationship, one that stands as a model for the rest of the country. In many places, state-tribal relations remain strained. Here in Colorado, we have chosen a different path, one rooted in consultation, collaboration, and trust. This is a relationship we must maintain and look to improve. The relationship affirms our inherent sovereignty and our shared commitment to work together for our elders, our children, our relatives, our neighbors, and for generations yet to come. We must never forget that the mountains, rivers, and plateaus of this beautiful state bear the mark of the history and presence of the Ute people. We call ourselves Nuchu, which translates to the people. The Utes are the oldest continuous inhabitants of what is now the state of Colorado, and our legacy endures in every part of this land. Unlike many other tribes, we do not have a migration story. According to our creation story, we were placed in the Rocky Mountains by the Creator, who promised the Utes, though few in number, will be the mightiest and most valiant of heart. That promise lives on. The Nuchu are resilient. We are still here, advocating, protecting, and building a future for our people. We understand that our future depends on the health of the land. Conservation and stewardship are not just policies to us. They are responsibilities passed down through generations. Our homeland was once vast. In 1849, the Ute Nation consisting of 7 bands, entered into a treaty with the United States, establishing a reservation that covered the western third of this state. Yes, yet as mining interests sought access to our land, those treaties were repeatedly broken. Through deception and broken promises, millions of acres were taken. In 1874 alone, the Brunot Agreement resulted in the loss of 3.7 million acres of Ute homeland, despite clear evidence of fraud. Still, we endured. Our current reservation was established by treaty in 1878. Today, the Moachi Kaputa bands from the Southern Ute Indian Reservation near Ignacio, Colorado. Our reservation is 72 miles long and 15 miles wide. It is checkerboarded of tribal trust lands, allotments, private lands, and federal holdings. This complexity creates jurisdictional gaps that challenge governance and public safety. Even in the face of these painful challenges, hope endures. Our connection with the land is unbreakable. It is our home, our strength, and our future. We are committed to protecting it and preserving our sovereignty. Through foresight, discipline, financial planning, and in-house expertise, the Southern Ute Indian Tribe has become a leader across Indian country. We are developers of energy, real estate, construction, and private equity. And we are the largest employer in La Plata County with more than 1,000 employees. We are honored to be here. We are honored to be the only tribe in the nation with a AAA credit rating, a distinction that reflects integrity, accountability, and long-term vision. Our growth fund, which oversees the tribe's economic development, recently celebrated its 25th anniversary, a milestone made possible by the wisdom of our elders, the leadership of those who came before us, and the dedication of our employees. For modest beginnings to become a cornerstone of economic strength, the Growth Fund stands as a testament to stewardship and foresight. As the late EGAP Leonard C. Birch, who was our chairman for over 33 years for the Southern Ute Tribe, would often say, "What is good for the tribe is good for the community." And that truth guides us in everything we do. The Southern Ute Indian Tribe is not just a partner. We are working to shape the future of Colorado to benefit all. We have entered into compacts and agreements with the state and local governments to ensure that we promote economic development and provide services to the community. We honor our tax compacts and make payments in lieu of taxes, tens of millions of dollars that support local and state services. Businesses on our reservation contribute significant revenue to state and local governments. And what makes this partnership unique is that the tribe provides essential services not only to our members, but to more than 10,000 native and non-native residents who live within the reservation boundaries, often at no cost to the state. We provide health care to thousands of patients each year. We fund and operate public safety, detention, and judicial services. We offer culturally responsive education through our Montessori Academy. We regulate air quality and protect water at standards that exceed state and federal requirements. We maintain irrigation infrastructure that supports tribal and non-tribal farmers. We help make possible a modern hospital in La Plata County by providing land and significant financial support. So if any of you have ever been to the Three Springs area, I was on council years back when the tribe bought that property And if you're ever there today, it's been built out fully. And again, just repeating what I said, the tribe donated the land to the hospital and donated millions of dollars to build it. And that goes for the whole community of Southwest Colorado at the tribe's expense. And today, as communities across Colorado face a housing crisis, we are investing our own resources to deliver affordable housing not only for tribal members, but for our teachers, our healthcare workers, our first responders, and local families, ensuring the people who serve our communities can afford to live in them. The Buckskin Charlie Housing Project will consist of 2 apartment buildings with 30 units in each. Bringing housing units to Southwest Colorado, we anticipate opening our doors later this year. And again, this is all at the expense of the Southern Indian Tribe to bring it to the community for not just our members, but our workers, healthcare providers, law enforcement, at our cost. And looking at milestones, the tribe settled its water rights with the state of Colorado in 1986, an agreement affirmed by Congress. Last May, the tribe put its Animas La Plata project water to use for the first time for energy development. The proceeds collected from this will be reinvested to update aging irrigation systems to benefit agricultural production and strengthen water resiliency for the benefit of the tribe, our membership, and the community. But the strength of our relationship relies upon continuing collaboration and communication. There are times when we could do more. This is the last year of my chairmanship, so I tell myself. Likewise, this is the last year of Governor Polis's term. For our last year, we should make certain commitments. First, missing murdered Indigenous relatives, MMIR, is not just an issue, it's a devastating reality for too many families. It is an epidemic in Indian country. The safety of our loved ones should not be hindered by questions as to who has jurisdiction to investigate a crime. Behind every name and missing flyer is a loved one whose absence leaves a void. These are our sisters, brothers, our cousins, children, our parents and grandparents. We must come together, stronger than ever, to protect them and ensure that no more lives are stolen and no more voices are silenced. Therefore, I encourage the state and our local jurisdiction to enter into a governmental agreement with the tribe to share information and require law enforcement agencies to collaborate to protect our native population on the reservation. Second, we need to collaborate to protect funding sources for those in our communities who are most in need. On January 6th, Colorado received a letter from the Federal Administration for Children and Families, ACF, indicating that they are restricting access to funding that supports families with children who have limited resources and income. This kind of action affects us all, tribal and non-tribal. We must work together to make sure these funds are restored. And we applaud Attorney General Phil Weiser's quick response in challenging the restriction. Third, stewardship also requires vigilance. When the land and water are threatened, we must take action cooperatively. In December of 2024, a gasoline pipeline owned by a company called Enterprise Products of Houston, Texas, failed on private fee land within the exterior boundaries of our reservation. The spill occurred adjacent to the Animas River. Enterprise never detected it. It was homeowners who discovered it. Enterprise insisted the spill was 23,000 gallons. The tribe questioned that number, And finally, Enterprise acknowledged the spill was at least 97,000 gallons, are over 4 times larger than their original estimate. We believe the true amount is considerably higher. Today, it stands as the largest refined gasoline pipeline spill in Colorado since the state began tracking such incidents in 2016. And I repeat, it's the largest spill in the state of Colorado. The spill occurred on land, again, within the reservation, within which the state claims jurisdiction. But the response of the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment was not as strong as we would like it to be. They failed to address the spill aggressively, allowing the gasoline plume to spread into groundwater and inch closer to the Animas River. When we insisted the plume was larger than represented by Enterprise, our concerns were disregarded. One landowner after another has had to sell their homes because their water wells were contaminated. State leadership has never visited the spill site to hear the concerns, the residents, and the tribe. We believe that if a similar spill occurred on the Front Range, the response would be immediate and direct. From the very beginning, the Southern Indian Tribe has been actively and consistently engaging in responding to this incident. The Southern Indian Tribe has invested significant tribal resources. The Southern Indian Tribe has spent over $700,000 of our own money to try to work on this, to look to see what's going on. We have hired outside professional consultants. We're looking at this serious, and we know it's going to take many, many, many years to clean this up. With the dollars that we spent, it is to independently monitor the conditions, to participate in ongoing coordination with state and federal agencies, and to ensure that remediation efforts meet the highest standards. This presence of gasoline contamination in the groundwater raises serious concerns for public health, environmental safety, and long-term impacts to the Animas River, our wildlife, our reservation and cultural resources, and those who live downstream. My tribe has spent significant funds to address a major gasoline spill on land over which the state claims jurisdiction. We believe the state has not allocated the appropriate level of resources to address the largest gasoline spill to date. We need to do better. This incident is a reminder of the risk posed by aging infrastructure and the serious consequences when failures do occur. It reminds us of the urgent need for strong regulatory oversight, timely remediation, transparency, and full accountability from responsible parties. While we remain deeply disappointed by the slow timeline for remediation and the lack of engagement, again, including the absence of a visit from elected state leadership, my role as chairman carries a strong duty to ensure we are being good stewards of the land, and that duty will remain as we navigate this crisis. We will be dealing with the ramifications of this spill for decades. I encourage this administration to begin negotiations for an intergovernmental agreement with the tribe to ensure that we collaborate and share economic resources for addressing this environmental disaster. Fourth, we need to work cooperatively to address the unlawful use of our respective lands. For years, Lumen, which used to be called CenturyLink, has been trespassing on our reservation. Lumen uses reservation land to gain access to other areas of the state while failing to compensate the tribe. Today, there are over 170 miles of lines installed by Lumen crossing tribal land, most of which was never approved. The age of illegally using tribal land should have ended long ago, but Lumen doesn't understand that. It has a history of trespassing on tribal land in Indian country. We have asked the CEO of Lumen to meet with us to discuss the issue, but the response we received was that she was too busy. And when we talk about they're illegally crossing our tribal lands, what we require is that they get a right-of-way to even be on our land. We make sure that they do cultural resources to make sure wherever they're doing excavation, they're not digging up burial sites. And that's the strength we have, that we don't allow anybody to just come on our land and start digging with disrespect. As Lumen attempts to divest itself of assets in Colorado, I encourage the Attorney General to engage with the tribe to investigate the illegal use of tribal lands and other lands within the state by Lumen. Finally, for the past few years, we have disagreed with the governor over the tribe's ability to engage in sports betting on reservation lands. We have a long-standing compact that governs gaming in the state. We have tried to enforce it. The governor claimed immunity. Our relationship depends on cooperation. We need to be able to enter into agreements with the state and trust they will be respected. We have just begun a mediation with the state to try to resolve this matter. Oh, sorry. As we move forward, we may disagree at times, but we have always agreed to disagree and find a way to move forward in a positive direction. I challenge this administration in 2026 to work with us to find a solution to this long-standing issue. As we look ahead, we remain committed to building upon the accomplishments of the past leaders and elders, working tirelessly to create opportunity for our youth and stability of our communities. As a leader, I am deeply honored to advocate for policies that prioritize their well-being and open doors to their successes. As this legislative session moves forward, I ask that we remain grounded in the principles that define our partnership. The relationship between the Southern Ute Indian Tribe and the state of Colorado is progressive, enduring, and vital. To strengthen this relationship, we would warmly welcome the opportunity to provide a formal orientation for new legislators who don't know anything about the Southern Ute Tribe, the Ute Mountain Tribe, the Ute Indian Tribe. We would gladly love to have a sit down with the new ones and learn about us and who we are and all what the Southern Ute Tribe does. That's something that we're willing to offer and to educate everyone who we are as partners in the state of Colorado. To strengthen This is an opportunity to share our history, culture, our governance, and priorities, and to identify areas where collaboration can continue to grow. While we have not always been formally included in these spaces, we believe meaningful partnerships begin with understanding. Let us learn from one another as leaders so that we can continue building together with clarity, respect, and trust. This invitation comes at a meaningful moment. As our nation approaches America's 250th anniversary, and as Colorado reflects on 150 years of statehood, we are called to consider not only the past, but the future we are shaping. Long before statehood, and long before founding of this nation, the Ute people have been here since time immemorial. Our history did not begin with these anniversaries, but our shared future continues well beyond them. As Colorado reflects on its first 150 years, let us ensure that the next 150 years are built together. With the two resident tribes the Southern Ute Indian Tribe, and the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe. Fully seen, fully heard, fully respected, and sovereign governments and enduring partners. Through education, consultation, and collaboration, we can honor the full story of this land. While disagreements may arise, our commitment to working together ensures that we will always find a path forward. As I head into the final year of my term as chairman, I am deeply honored to stand before you today. I want to sincerely thank you for your partnership, for helping evaluate our priorities, and for working beside us to build a stronger and better Colorado for tomorrow. Thank you for the willingness to listen, to learn, to engage in good faith. And to many of you, thank you not only as colleagues, but as friends. It has been both an honor and a privilege to serve in this role and to speak on behalf of my tribe. I am deeply grateful for the work we have accomplished together, for the future we continue to shape. And as we move on each and every day, we want to thank our ancestors, those legislators that came before us and you that worked together. But today, being a new year, 2026, the world is going through a lot of crisis, but the state of Colorado, as strong as we are, working together, we can overcome those differences. Let us be that role model for other states. I am deeply grateful again for the work we have accomplished together and for the future, again, we continue to shape. As we build upon the legacy of our ancestors, our past leaders, and former legislators, we reaffirm our commitment to their vision and to building a brighter tomorrow together. Please accept my invitation to visit us, not just for business, but to build relationships and broaden our perspectives. So if you're ever down in our part of the woods, the country down there in southwest Colorado, please come by and visit us. We'd be glad to meet with you, and I'm sure Ute Mountain Ute Tribe would be the same. Again, everything we talk about here is history within the state of Colorado and building those relationships. And oh man, I can't even imagine. I pride myself on the relationships that we have, because when I travel, whether it's Washington or to other reservations, some of those tribes are not as fortunate to have the kind of working relationships that we have with the state of Colorado. And it takes all of us as good people with good hearts to work together to look for a better tomorrow. And as I said the other day, if we're in it for ourselves, we're in the wrong job. We're here to serve our people. Again, I want to just say thank you. It's been an honor to speak before you. I hope our messages from the Southern Ute Tribe and Ute Mountain Tribe resonate some of the things that were going on. And at any time, if there's some issues, you can always reach out to us too if it has impacts. But what we're saying is don't leave us behind. When you leave someone behind, that means we have a lot of catching up to do, and it really sets a lot of people behind. Let's be better than that. Let's be proactive. And we are. We've proved it. We have been proving it for years down the road. So again, it's been an honor to speak before you all, and I want to wish each and every one of you a happy 2026. And I don't know if I can say this or not, but I just want to say, go Broncos. Go Broncos! How can you live in the state of Colorado and not be a Bronco? I don't get it. I mean, you know, I reflect back as I was a kid in southwest Colorado with my dad, watching the Broncos play, Craig Morton, you know, Floyd Little, on a black and white TV, and sometimes as a littlest one, they'd say, climb up on the house and move that antenna, you know. There it is, stop, don't move. So again, you know, good luck to the Broncos. I am a diehard Bronco fan, always have been, always will be. So have a great, happy 26th. Tuayak. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Chairman Baker. Councilmember House, will the committee please escort the tribal representatives from the chamber, and please join me in giving them another round of applause. House Majority Leader Durant.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the message from the tribal representatives be printed in the House Journal.
There is no objection. The tribal representative's message will be printed in the House Journal. Senate Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the joint session be resolved.
There being no objection, the joint session is dissolved.
Members of the House, we will be coming back to order in 1 minute, so please take your seats. The House will come back to order. Members, we're going to start with announcements and introductions. Representative Valdez.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members of the House Energy and Environment Committee and the Senate Committee, we will be meeting for our SMART Act hearing at the top of the hour, noon, in the Old State Library. We will be starting quickly to try and remain on schedule. Additionally, we will not be having the
Representative Valdez, 1 moment. Members, your attention, please. Thank you.
We are going to, thank you, Madam Speaker. We are going to reschedule the hearing with the energy companies and the other stakeholders on the shutdowns for next week. So that'll give more time for folks to prepare.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Lukens?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Joint Education Smart Act hearing will be in the Old Supreme Court today, so a different room, Old Supreme Court today, 15 minutes upon adjournment. Thank you.
Representative Hartsook.
Thank you,
And
Madam
Representative
Speaker.
Stewart.
Members, if I could have your attention briefly, we have a visiting dignitary. I'd like to draw your attention over here to my right. Please welcome from the Emerald Isle in the nation of Ireland, Senator Mark Daly, the President of the Senate, and his Chief of Staff, Grace Coyle.
Welcome, Senator. It is always a good day to have a top of the morning with our friends from Ireland. Thank you for being here. Representative McCormick, Assistant Minority Leader Winter. I'm never going to get the vision of you on Lucifer out of my head. I'm doomed.
Oh, okay. I want a picture of me on Lucifer.
Talk to Bacon.
All right. You all know why we're here. So a week from today is the National Western Stock Show Junior Livestock Sale. And we want to get another pig to go with the bacon of the Lucifer. So we can take checks, we can take credit cards. If you need a Venmo dilly bop, I can share that with you. And we can take cash. And I do have just a starter set of some cash in here, which was great. Thank you for those that gave. We want to really help out these kids that are working so hard. They've worked for a year, sometimes a year and a half or more, to raise these animals, and this is their future. Thank you, Representative. What's that? Oh, okay. Anyway, these students are, these young farmers and ranchers are really looking for us to come through with a big sale next Friday. So let's see what we can do. And as of course, we want to beat the Senate, which I think we can do. So come help me out. Come help us out.
AML Winter.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank
And please, let's get out to the stock show this weekend. Once again, it's a good time to, especially for our urban cousins, to get and shake hands with the people that come in from rural Colorado to show all the hard work that they do, to see the kids and see the future of agriculture in this state. God bless our egg producers. They feed us and they clothe us. So please get out to the stock show this weekend and give them some support. And find us with the cash, the credit cards, checks. We'll take it all. Thank you.
Representative Luck. Oh, sorry, Representative Bradfield.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's another year, and the Governor Legislator Bible Study will begin again. I would like to welcome any and all of you to join us in room 109 Tuesday morning at 7:15. One of the bonuses of the Bible study is breakfast is served, and you have a renewal of spirit every week. So please join us. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Hemrick.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I'd like to introduce our newest members on the floor, our newest sergeants, Christopher Numi.
Hello, Christopher.
And also Alan Bennett.
Hello, Alan.
Please get to know them. They are going to be remarkable members.
Thank you, Representative. Now, Representative Luck.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It is Friday, the start of a new session, which means that I have, a responsibility to fulfill.
One moment, Representative. Members, your attention, please. Thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I was thinking, though, that since it is the 150th anniversary of our state and of the 250th anniversary of the nation, that it might be fun to share when I am able. I'm not committing every week because you know how this place gets, but I will try to share a significant event in the life of either our state or our country before affirming all of us as we head out the door. Today, the significant event may only really be deeply significant to me, but needless to say, it happened here in Colorado 2 years ago when my son was born. And so I am honoring that today. Happy birthday, Micaiah. And it's a mom's prerogative, right? In any case, to all of you, it's wonderful to see you back. For those who are new, I've introduced myself to some, but not all, and I just hope that you all know that no matter where you are, no matter what day it is, you are loved, amazing, worthy, and adored, and I will look forward to seeing you again soon.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, do I have your attention? The House will be closed on Monday, January 19th, in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. I move to lay over the balance of the calendar until Tuesday, January 20th, 2026.
Seeing no objection, the balance of the calendar will be laid over until Tuesday, January 20th.
Hold on, it's coming. Did you call on me? Oh, I thought are we going here? Ready? All right. I move that the House stand in adjournment until Tuesday, January 20th at 10 a.m.
The House is adjourned.